Welcome. My name is Carl Johann Schroeder. This is my meetup called Inner Selves for Outer Mastery. Today we're going to talk about how to be your own best friend and how and why that leads to the most amazing life automatically. You don't have to do all these power manifestation techniques. There's a lot of doing-oriented, achieving-oriented advice in the world, and that's fine if you already are best friends with yourself, if you already have that self-love. You see, I call my meeting Inner Selves for Outer Mastery, and my spiritual psychology system that I've developed, I call it Inner Selves Mastery. The emphasis is on the inner world and how many parts of your soul you have in there. Your soul is your part of the universe. It's actually your version of the universe. Every consciousness is the entire universe. These are big concepts. This changes everything. So let's be happy about it, because at first it can seem disorienting to learn about just how different the spiritual view of the world can be. And people can have a lot of reactions, like, well, I was talking to somebody just the other day of just like how much they're on a spiritual mission, they're going to help save the world, but then when it came down to law of attraction and really creating your own reality, they think that is selfishness. They just equated like any kind of taking care of yourself, of having your own good life, that must be selfish. And it's not. I mean, the whole point is that if everybody knew that they could have the most wonderful life, that they could run their own life and connect directly with the universe, that they were a form of the universe, then we wouldn't see all the problems we have in the world today. Everybody would just be taking care of themselves. The problem is we have a lot of false belief systems on the earth that will disempower you, that will convince you that you are next to nothing, that you need to focus on the outer world, you need to serve other people, somebody else must have all the money, somebody else must have all the love, somebody else must have all the connections that you need. You got to find them, you got to, if you're nice about it, you try to please them and beg them, and if you're mean about it, you just plain like try to conquer them. But either way, everybody's focused on these ideas of how much the power to have a great life is out there somewhere. And it's a whole path of false negative beliefs. It's just not true. You actually have the way to have the most wonderful life inside of you. You have to turn your focus around. You have to understand what the outer world is actually for. You have a sense of outer and inner, right? You have a sense of like your private personal thoughts. You when you go to sleep at night, you dream your dreams. You don't dream somebody else's dreams. There's a sense of the personal, private, inner world. And how to fit that into the world has been the stress of like, how do I find a job that lets me be myself? How do I find a spouse that will let me have my hobbies? How will I find friends that want to do some of the things with me that I like to do? So there's a whole model, a whole assumption that somehow like we're this small little thing that needs to fit into the big world out there that's real and solid. And indeed, and like some people even find inspiration in this. They you're such a small, insignificant speck in the universe, and somehow that's supposed to resize your expectations and make you humble and make you want to serve other people and be nice. It works the other way around. I mean, if you think you're an insignificant, helpless, powerless little speck that has to please everybody else and work for everybody else, and maybe someday if you find the right connections, if you make the right business deals, if you find the right partner, maybe someday you'll be happy and have it all. No, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be resentful. People are incredibly miserable and resentful these days, and people feel deep down homeless. They just don't have a home. It's because the world, you're not inside of the world. The world is actually inside of you. All of this outer stuff, that is a projection of your inner world, your consciousness. Consciousness is not some kind of byproduct of the world. It's not something that's found in the world. The world is in the consciousness. The whole universe is an experience of the consciousness. All of this is a consciousness experience. So don't let that, disorient you. At first, I like to call it the interregnum, which is a sort of socio-political term for being between, leaderships. But for a while, it can be very disorienting on the spiritual path because you're caught in between worlds. You're caught in between paradigms. On one hand, you have a sense of like the world out there doesn't work. There are so many people who are insecure. They're trying to control each other. They're trying to dominate each other. They forget love. There are so many people in the world who just don't even trust love. It's like, are you kidding? Love is letting my guard down. Love is asking for help. Love is letting people know where I'm vulnerable, where I'm not that strong, where I need to be loved and supported. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to love. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be mean. So many people are suffering in their traumas starting from childhood, whether you were literally objectively abused as a child and you managed to survive. Like we're all here. You survived. Congratulations. You got enough of what you needed that you survived. But you may well feel like The Walking Dead sometimes. All these other sort of zombie tropes. That all these kind of like monster tropes and fantasies and stories, they're all versions, reflections, archetypes of how bad people feel inside. They feel really messed up. No, the fact is that you can't please the outside world. You can't find yourself in the world. You need to find the world inside of you. That this is a consciousness experience. And as you move from the old system where it's like, come on, I mean, there are all these people trying to be tough and bullies. Like I said, if you had objective childhood trauma, or maybe you, like myself, I had a decent childhood. My parents did their best, but they had their abused childhoods, and it came through. If you're empathic, if you open up your heart, if you become insensitive at all, you start immediately like realizing like there's a lot of danger in the world. But it's not actually so much in the world as in our belief systems. What connects all the people who act dangerous with each other and indeed can hurt each other and can be hurt, but what connects all those people who are hurting each other is that they share some beliefs that are not true. Beliefs about being powerless, about love it makes you weak, violence makes you strong, about how that there's no help for you, that the world is broken and you got to fix it, you got to work harder, and someday if you work hard enough, you'll get a payoff. It's not true. That, by the way, is a fundamental characteristic of false negative beliefs. You need to understand that the universe is actually an incredibly beautiful, loving, generous place. That you have ways within you, within your own consciousness, as a part of the universe, as an actual form of the entire universe, you are the universe experiencing yourself through your perspective. Everyone else is too. So when people talk about there's a unity to all humanity and unity to all life, it's the fact that it's the source of all consciousness experiencing itself through those people's positions. But stay grounded in your position, okay? The fact that all life is connected and you can have spiritual experiences of that, that means that you're going to choose love. You're not going to try to hurt people. You're not going to choose that path of, violence is the way to get what I want, or, just work harder. You're going to keep choosing something about love, something about kindness, something about having dreams and visions of a better world. That has got to be the answer, and it is. It is. So, as I said, this idea of an interregnum and a transition period that can feel very insecure. It can feel so insecure that people run back screaming to the old way of doing things, even though we know that the old way of doing things is broken. The idea of like one of the big false beliefs is that war could ever lead to peace. Just like if we have enough wars, if we get rid of all the bad guys, someday we'll have only good people left, and then we can have a wonderful world. Then we can roll out the love. Then we can roll out all the kindness. But until then, we got to be tough and mean and have all these wars. It's like another false belief. Like I was saying, you need to recognize the difference between false beliefs and true beliefs. False beliefs are the ones that will never work. They're self-inconsistent, such as war would lead to peace. How is war ever going to lead to peace? Even if you get rid of like all the opponents and you have a peace treaty, everybody's like always thinking like, well, the only way to have peace is to have another war. As soon as problems crop up, everybody's bracing for like, oh, this is going to be another war. This is going to be another war. That's how the world has felt for thousands of years, right? Every time problems arise, we all brace ourselves like, how bad is the conflict going to become? Is it going to be like a shouting match between me and my boss or me and my spouse? Is this going to lead to a breakup? Is it going to be national? Is it international? Are we going to have another war? When's another war coming? It's because war never leads to peace. Peace leads to peace. You got to understand the fundamental principles of the universe come through with true beliefs. True beliefs are the ones that say success leads to success. Peace leads to peace. Prosperity leads to prosperity. There is no way that a miserable state can ever turn into a happy state. You can work hard for the false beliefs. You can work hard for the domination culture, all the work ethic kind of ideas, all these basic ideas. There's so much in the culture that basically says you are not good enough, that you don't deserve, but if you work really hard, you can earn deserving. False. A wrong direction will never turn into the right direction. If you walk in the wrong direction, you'll never suddenly, it was always the right direction after all. No, it's like what feels bad is bad, will always get worse, okay? What doesn't work never worked, okay? And what does work always works and will work more and more. So the best times in your life, think about all the best times in your life, all your peak experiences. We all have them, okay? We all have enough love that we survive. We all have these memories, that we cherish, and what do they all have in common? They all have in common some kind of senses of safety, of friendship, of ease, of help. The world is helping us to manifest, to create a beautiful adventure together. And then something changes, and we're taught that time is our enemy, and when things change, we've lost it again. No. It's like time and space are a storytelling device, okay? It doesn't actually change the fact that every peak experience of your life is always there. You need to realize, like, memories are not memories. Okay, memories. We have this whole game, this whole way of like reinforcing the ideas of time and space. It's like, when I remember a good time, well, that's just some brain chemicals bringing it back. No, it's not. The brain chemicals are there, but what they're doing is they're tuning you into your consciousness that's always there. Every time and space always exists. That's what Einstein discovered in 1905. That he worked out the formula, and he's like, hey, everybody, the only way that light can always go the same speed for all observers is that time and space are interlinked. Just a little bit of science here. Just think about how, what is speed? What is velocity? It's the amount of distance covered in a certain amount of time, right? So distance, that's space, and time is the amount of change in space. So if you go 60 miles an hour, that means you've gone 60 miles in 1 hour. So space and time are interlinked to make speed. Well, the speed of light, they measured the speed of light is the same for all observers, which doesn't make any objective sense. Because if you see a car going by at 60 miles an hour, and you're standing still, then you see it going by 60 miles an hour. But if you're running alongside of it at 60 miles an hour, then it's not moving. It's right there next to you. But they measured it, and time and again, it's been proven. It's like light is always going the speed of light faster than you. Always. It doesn't matter if you go close to the speed of light. The speed of light is still going that much faster than you. Same for all observers. The only way that's possible is that velocity, being the amount of distance you cover in a certain amount of time and space must be interlinked. They must be like changing. They must be morphing together to always result in the speed of light, no matter how fast you're going. So a little bit of physics there, but it's mind-bending, and it's actually pretty simple. I mean, there's so much about quantum physics that is really difficult mathematics, but the basic idea of like time and space are interlinked, because the speed of light is the same for all observers. You can kind of get it. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. If you saw a car going by at 60 miles an hour and you ran alongside it, and it always went, no matter how fast you went, it always was 60 miles an hour faster, you'd be like, what is going on? Well, that's because time and space are an illusion. Einstein himself, I love this quote, because there are a lot of fake Einstein quotes in the internet. But a true one, as he said, time and space are not conditions by which we live. They are modes by which we think. He admitted, physicists admit, somehow time and space are something we're making up in the way we perceive a real universe that is beyond our grasp. Philosophers have been talking about this for centuries. It's like all we really know of the outer world is our senses, our sense data. So how can we actually know what the real world is like out there? Well, you can't know it with your senses, with your physical senses. You can't know it with your brain, which thinks logically from your physical senses, but you can know it from your heart. Your heart is a real feeling center. Your brain needs to follow your heart. Your heart is what's going to tune you into the true nature of the universe. The true nature of the universe is that it runs on love. It loves you totally. And the universe can afford to love you, and you can afford to love everyone when you realize that consciousness is running all of this. This is a kind of waking dream. You don't have to be disoriented. You will be disoriented for a while in that transition from the old way of doing things, which is very outer world focused, and I'm going to make things happen in the outer world, and shifting to the inner world where it's like, wait a minute, I can feel it in my heart. And I hear people talking about it, and I get these insights sometimes that I think like everything's here now, and at the heart of it, it's just the most beautiful universe, that all the best times in your life, they are what's real, and they are eternal portals. So when you remember a good time in your life, yeah, you got brain chemicals going on, but that's the secondary effect. That's the story. That's time and space supporting what you can feel in your heart. That when you had an amazing peak experience in your life, that is eternal. That is forever. So all the peak experiences in your life, they are portals. They are doorways into an energy which you connect with. You are there again. You are connecting with yourself that is always there when you remember a good time. So what happens in time and space? Why do things change? Why is it can seem like time is our enemy? Because it keeps separating us from the good things. And we work really hard to get a good thing back, but then it'll just separate us again. You know, this is the source of suffering that Buddha talked about. All these people who are striving, continually working to amass more of whatever they think will make them happy. Money makes me happy. I'll get more money. Power, people doing what I say. You know, jump, I say jump and they say how high. That is what I need more of. Or I just need more friends. I just need more creativity. I just need more whatever. But then it always changes in time. No, if you chase the outside world, those are all the symbols of success. Those are all the artifacts. Those are all the icing on the cake. You need to be the cake. You are the cake, okay? All of this world is icing on the cake when you are the cake. And the only way to do that, to bring it home to this topic, to remind us of the topic today, the topic is how to be your own best friend, and how that alone will result in the most wonderful life automatically. You don't have to do all the power manifestation techniques. You don't, there's, like I was saying, there's so much in the world. It's like how to visualize, how to win friends and defeat your enemies, how to deal with difficult people, techniques. The ultimate technique is just that you love yourself. Just be your own best friend. So what do friends do? Friends, they don't judge each other. They don't think about like, well, I need you to be this way or else I'm going to leave. Friends are unconditional. Friends are just like, oh my God, it's so good to be with you again. Tell me how is it going? Let's just share another experience. Let's just be together. We belong together. Best friends, they just know. It's like, we haven't seen each other in 5 years and it's like yesterday. Because it is yesterday. Like I said, all time is simultaneous. All the best times in your life, they're still happening. They're still growing. You just need to figure out how to connect your life so that you're always visiting the best places where you belong. And you can avoid the places where you don't belong. So life, I like to call life it's stringing pearls. You already have these pearls, these beautiful gems of the best times in your life, all the peak experiences where your heart said, this is the way life is meant to be. You know, you can think of times in your life when you had amazing peak experiences. They can be like, you know, the day somebody got married, or just their first kiss, or the, you know, a really great meal on a really great vacation or whatever. It's like that is timeless. You just feel it. It's a total experience because, like I said, it's always there. Well, that's a pearl. That's a gem. You just need to string the pearls together. So all the stuff that's coming in between that disrupts your connection to these eternal, beautiful moments, that's what you need to learn how to handle. So we're going to talk about this, the order in which you reclaim your soul. Your soul is your eternal part of the universe. And as I said, everyone is the universe experiencing itself. So you are backed up by the full power, the full love, the full miraculous existence of the universe. Life is a gift, and you are just given this gift to keep growing it, to string your pearls, to connect all the peak moments of your life, and to understand what is separating those moments. Because there are ways to understand the world so that it's not your enemy. All the false belief systems, all the negative false beliefs, they all focus on the enemy. That's what they all have in common. So whether, you know, you see people in the world today, they're fighting dictatorships. It's like there's a certain number of people who are joining in the dictatorship. Oh, this is great. Let's be bullies. Let's get rid of the bad people. And there are a certain number of people who are being the victims and trying to like advocate for the victims. And it's like, we got to fight the dictatorship. What they all have in common is a sense of fighting something. Something's not supposed to be there. Something's wrong. Something's bad. Well, I'm not saying that all things are equally good for you. Absolutely not. I'm saying you want to be highly, highly opinionated on what's good for you. But let that be your own judgment of what's good for you, and let everyone else go. I have no idea what's right for everybody else. Let everybody else do whatever they think is right. It's like, oh my God, I can't have that happen. We got to have laws. We got to contain people. We got to control people. That is the result of going down the road of believing the negative side of life. The negative side is focusing on where you don't belong, what's not right for you, and focusing on how to get rid of it, how to push it away. But you can't push anything away because, like I said, life is actually a consciousness experience. You think about it. What is consciousness? Consciousness is your awareness point, your perspective, your viewpoint on everything. So you have your own experience of everything. You know, people can argue with you and say, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that. But they can't say you're wrong about having your own experience. That's the one place, you know, anyone decent should agree. It's like, well, I don't have to believe what you believe, but I believe that you believe it. Or I believe that you're experiencing. Everyone has their own experience from their own consciousness. So you got to realize how incredibly powerful consciousness is, to have your own experience of everything, to have your own likes and dislikes, to have your own sense of adventure of what you want to do in life, how you want the world to be. That is your own universe. Every consciousness is continually making its own copy of the entire universe. So you are your own universe. You are your own version of the universe. It's a lot like those fractals, you know, those images you see, like the Mandelbrot set, very famous fractal. Basically, a pretty simple mathematical formula, but one that kind of feeds back into itself. It loops. Ends up creating this incredibly intricate design. It sort of looks like paisley or something, right? But you zoom into it, and it's endless detail. It just keeps zooming into endless detail. And if you zoom out, it's endless detail. But a lot of recurring patterns. They call it self-similarity, where you see a lot of recurring patterns. It's like, I've seen that kind of thing before. Well, this is what life is built on. There are a certain number of principles of consciousness, and everybody gets their own consciousness, and everybody gets to make their own copy of everything they ever experience, and everyone gets to be their own universe. So everybody is making their own decisions of what they like, what they perceive, what they imagine, what they want, etc. And all of that feeds back into the original source, which is always sort of beyond us. It's like, you know, that when you see a fractal and you can zoom in and get more detail, you just know that, like, my God, there's an infinity around me. Like, if you try to zoom out of the fractal, you can lose your center point. if you lose the center point of a fractal, you could be anywhere. That's what it's like with so many people. There are two directions of focus. If you focus on the outer world, you lose your sense of your center. It's like, I'm just a nothing, I'm nobody. But oh my God, those people, they have the money, they have the power, they have the love. I've got to get out there and please all those people. That's like zooming out of the fractal, and you lose any sense of your own center, and you're just flying all over the place. That's what so many people are doing. And when you fly all over the place without your center of your own consciousness, your own universe, that's when you get into all the emotions of distress. You need to understand, like, one of the really big ways in which the false beliefs will totally confuse you and trap you is that they tell you what your emotions mean. No, your emotions are your emotions, and they mean your ticket to paradise. All of your emotions are totally meaningful clues to get back to your center, to center yourself. So we're going to talk about today how to be your own best friend, which is about loving yourself, focusing inward, getting to your center. And the basic way you be friends with yourself, just think about any good friends. They're like, hey, come as you are. Just want to see you again. Are you happy about something? Let's share that happiness. If you're upset about something, let's share your feelings. Let's be together. That's what you want to feel with yourself, because you are actually created in two parts. This is the part of the brilliance of creation, the design of creation. There's a greater you. There's always a bigger you who knows you and cares about you totally. That's the sense of God, Goddess, Great Spirit, Creator, all that is, the source, whatever you want to call it. All the religions, they're all based on this sense of like, there's something bigger than me, and how do I please it? So they're going from like a true belief of, yes, there's something bigger than you that wants to take care of you, that knows all the answers. And then they go straight into the false negative beliefs of, oh, but it's very judgmental, and I've got to please it. Like I had to please my parents, and I had to please my king, and I had to please my sibling, and whatever. It's like, no, you don't have to do anything to please the source. The source already totally is pleased that you just even exist. You want to get to this basic sense of like, you are so happy that you even exist. You just want to be with yourself. So you are created in two parts that need to love each other. The spiritual decider and the human experiencer. The human experiencer, that's the part of you that's incarnated, that's in the world. And you're having emotional reactions to the world. And that's beautiful. That's amazing that you even exist, that you have your point of consciousness. You have your way of experiencing everything. You go to a movie with friends. Everybody else loves the movie, but you found it very upsetting. You have your own way of experiencing things. So don't try to fit into the group. Oh, I must be wrong. That's what the false beliefs will say. They'll say, well, you don't fit in. You must be wrong. Get rid of your feelings. Get rid of your perspective. Just join in the company. Join in the plan. Go fight the war, whatever. No, it's false. You need to go inward. Be courageous enough to be your best friend. So you've got the human side of you that is in this illusion. It's a kind of illusion, this world, but it's very real in the effects. You can use this world to love yourself, just like you can use a movie to have a good time with your friends, right? You don't go to a movie with your friends and you sit in the theater and like, oh my God, this is the most amazing real movie. I want to leave all my friends and jump into the movie. Or conversely, if it's a horror movie rather than a happy movie, it's like, oh my God, all those people, they died. Oh my God, I got to jump in there and help those people. Or maybe I just got to run away. It's like, they say that like the first audiences who saw the first movies back in, the beginning of the 20th century, they say, I don't know how true it is, but like, an image of a steam train, a steam engine pouring toward them in the audience, people screamed and ran out of the theater because they weren't necessarily stupid, but just they never had the emotional experience of something like big on a screen, totally realistic, like charging at them. Their whole body reacted. Well, you're much more savvy these days. You've had a lot of experience with movies. You know that movies, you can just sit there with your friends, and if it's not a nice scene, if you don't like the scene, you can just sort of look away or whatever. Don't get into it. But you can focus on the scenes that you do like. Well, you've got to take these kind of experiences. These are all training wheels. Reality, all the experiences, they're training wheels for the real world inside of you. The real world, the real universe that comes from your own consciousness, that comes from your own copy of everything. So everything you humanly experience is some kind of training, some kind of hint, some kind of clue, some kind of reminder of the real world and the spirit side of you. Remember I said there's a human experiencer and there's a spirit decider. The spirit decider is when you step back from life and you decide which things you like, which things you don't, which things you believe, which things you don't, what you want in life. You kind of step back from things. So you're not so emotionally reactive, but you want to pay attention to your emotions. See, the spirit and human side of you, the experiencer side and the decider side, they need to be close together and they need to be best friends. All the problems come from when people run away from their human experience. They're too traumatized by their childhood, or they're too traumatized from knowing that there's a scary world out there. And they listen to the false beliefs that say, yeah, you just got to get rid of all the bad things. Never mind the good stuff. That'll come someday, but you'll get rid of the bad things first. Getting rid of the bad things, you never finish. You can never stop getting rid of stuff. You've got to focus on the positive path, which is where you learn to handle the things you don't like, just enough that you aren't caught up in it. You focus as much as you can, always return yourself to what you do like, what is right for you, your peak moments in life. You know, if you have a vision of a beautiful future based on the best times in your life, nature can be so beautiful, human relationships can be so beautiful. That's the kind of world I want. That's a positive vision. That's the positive direction. And then all the people who are doing violence to each other, they can't even begin. You know, they don't get into their heart. They don't get into how good the world could be. They're just focused on, I remember the times that somebody bullied me. I remember the times that somebody hurt me. I got to get them back. There's a lot of powerful emotions that come up when people do you wrong, when life does you wrong. But you need to learn to handle those emotions. So again, two best friends get together. Say you get together with your best friend and they've been having a terrible time. And then they're so stressed and traumatized, they're thinking of killing themselves. You're like, no, don't. It's okay to have those feelings, but don't actually do it. You know, or they're thinking of killing other people. No, it's like, okay, that's fine that you're so angry at that person, but you're not going to go, I won't let you. You're not going to go out there and actually kill somebody else or kill yourself, but you're going to tell me your feelings. Tell me your feelings. That's how to be your best friend. And we're going to talk about how that's safe, how and why. So you want to understand enough spiritual theory, not so that you perfectly understand the whole universe and you command, great things to manifest by it's just, the universe works. The universe loves you. The real universe, the universe inside of you that you can connect to from all the best times in your life. You want to understand how the real world works just enough that you have another step of feeling safe to be with yourself. To be with yourself in all the good times, in all the bad times. When the wedding vows, when people get married, they talk about, through for better or worse, we'll be together. It's like that kind of feeling. It's so tender. It just brings up feelings in me because some of the best spiritual experiences that I've had are just like talking in the mirror to myself. Just looking at that person in the mirror. Just try it sometime. A basic technique. Look at that person in the mirror and just start telling them how much they mean to you. And remembering good times and like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. You are so amazing. Nobody knows you like I know you. And you don't focus on like, well, other people should know me or whatever. See, that would take you out of your center. You focus on your center. I know you. I care about you. I want you to have the best life. I love it when you did this or when you went there or you both felt that. I want you to have more of the good stuff. And I want to figure out ways to heal the bad stuff. Just love yourself. Love yourself. Feel you need enough of a belief system, true beliefs, and how the universe is a safe, beautiful place. True beliefs to help you feel safe to be with yourself, to be your own best friend. And when you are with yourself that way, what you will find is the experiencer side of yourself and the decider side of yourself can work together and more love comes in, more support comes in from the real universe, which actually ends up being from everywhere. definitely from the inside, you can have spiritual guidance. You can have a sense of like intuition, or just outright like voices can talk to you. And of course, you hope that they're loving voices, but you can have love come from inside. You can have love come from outside. People talk about the magic of synchronicities on the spiritual path. All that's happening is that the inner world is matching the outer world. And actually, there are positive and negative synchronicities. There are people who are paranoid for a good reason. There really are people out to get them. And every time they think something negative will happen. They're having negative synchronicities. That's very unfortunate that they've gone so far down the path of negative beliefs that they think that, they're constantly ruminating on what terrible things will happen. And then they just zoom in, just like this is law of attraction. Law of attraction is very neutral. Law of attraction is really just whatever state you're in, you're going to attract more of that. But the basic love of the universe is not just a neutral kind of law of attraction. I'll wrap up my introduction here by saying, look, there are two ways that the universe is loving you. One, there are a lot of dualities in life, masculine and feminine, spirit and human we're talking about, all kinds, outer and inner world. But yes, there are two ways the universe is trying to love you. First of all, the universe would love to give you everything most wonderful, just automatically, just for being you, just for even existing. It's a lot like, when parents get their newborn child. You look at a newborn child, and like a lot of people have life-transforming, changing experiences, just receiving, like, oh my God, this is our baby. And just feel like, parents don't immediately demand, okay, little baby, you start earning your keep. You start doing stuff, or else we're not going to feed you. And you don't pour onto them all the expectations. Okay, you're going to be the great leader, whatever, that I never was. It's like, no, healthy, happy parents, they're just so blessed to have this life with them, sharing life, that you just want to give them everything to support them, to help them grow. And you just give them every opportunity, and you will celebrate every time they discover something about themselves, like just whatever makes you happy. Like, we just want to give you every opportunity to discover what a beautiful, wonderful, amazing being you are. You have gifts to give. We just trust the universe that you came to us for us to love you, to help you to grow up. That's how the universe feels about you. So the first way the universe wants to love you, just give you everything free, automatically, just to give you a chance to become the most beautiful you, to have the most beautiful life. So that's the part of the meetup topic where we're saying, if you just be best friends with yourself, you will manifest the most wonderful life automatically, because you'll be tuning into the universe that just wants to give you everything. And the second way the universe loves you is to let you know that you are a creator. The beliefs you hold, the attitudes, the expectations, the worldviews, the models, the paradigms make a difference. So the universe is going to do this law of attraction thing where, like, well, whatever you believe about yourself, you're going to experience more of that. That can be brutal, right? People who believe that life is out to get them, they're going to focus in on, and they're going to attract more people who really are out to get them. So the second way that the universe loves you, it can be tragic or it can be beautiful, but you're going to get whatever you believe about yourself. You're going to get whatever your human spirit partnership, how much you love yourself, you're going to get that. But the first way, the default way, the true original way the universe wants to love you is to just give you everything that will help you to thrive and be happy forever automatically. So that's what you can tune into more of just by feeling more of that for yourself, that you accept yourself, you love yourself, be your own best friend through better or worse, through all times, and you can tune into the universe that will give you everything automatically to thrive and be happy forever. So that's my introduction. Okay, I'm going to describe now the format that we use for the check-ins, for the sharings. I encourage you to pause the recording and do this for yourself, because it's going to help you to center, ground, and balance your energy in this challenging subject material. And then I'll be sharing some highlights from the conversation we had based on the check-ins. Definitely I want to hear what you think of this subject. Where do people have difficulty in loving themselves? Where is it difficult for you to love yourself, to accept yourself, to just be with yourself? Is it because you feel so unsafe in the world? You feel so unsafe with yourself? Inner critics come up, negative thoughts. Where do you need some help with that? And that would be the main thing to share. But first, just say for the sharing 3 parts. Say your name and where you're calling from. Secondly, say a little bit about how you're doing, where you're coming from. Be genuine, be authentic. I'm feeling this, I'm thinking this, this is how my life is going. Just a little sharing to be real. You want to be real with yourself and real with your friends. And we are people you don't know, but we are your friends on the spiritual path. And the third point, like I said, I want to hear what you think of the subject of being your own best friend. Where is it difficult for you to really be close and friendly and safe with yourself? What comes up for you that you might like some ideas on how to heal, how to solve?
I am empath. I love people so deeply. Like, I help my friends. Like, I'm there for everyone except myself. For me, I am the biggest critic, judge, victim, right? One side or another. But I'm really, I'm doing some readings and stuff and affirmations. Like, I want to be my best friend and love myself, but I found it so difficult. Like, when I'm doing that intentionally, when I'm reading, writing about it, okay, I can say nice things. But when actually a situation hits, right? Like, when life is happening, only the judge and the critic turns on. Like, my best friend doesn't come to the rescue at the right moment when I need it, right? So, Carl, I don't know, maybe you can give any advice of, like, how to bring that best friend to, like, real life situations.
Absolutely. And in fact, that's exactly what I was tuning in more to for this talk today, because I've been developing my spiritual psychology system for decades, so I have lots of ideas on any one topic. Spirit gives me topics a few weeks ahead, and I stay in my humility. I'm experiencing this. Any good spiritual teacher is a good spiritual student and just sharing what I learned. So yeah, I learned a lot this week around the self-judgments, how much people are suffering because they're just unable to get beyond the cruel thoughts, the negative thinking. And people are escaping their own negativity by going out into the world, thinking like, well, I'm a mess inside. I have all these inner critics. I feel under psychic attack or whatever. But hey, that person out there, they look pretty happy. They look pretty stable. Let me gravitate toward them. This is the basic idea. Everybody's trying to escape the negativity inside by running to the outside world, hoping that and that'll make it better. It only makes it worse. We need to not run away from things. So just remember, you are not your negativity. We're going to talk about exactly where negativity comes from. It comes from the human being feeling abandoned. The more that we learn to be that spirit-human partnership, the negativity will dissolve on its own. You need to be able to, like, when negative thoughts come up, just observe them. Don't say like, oh, I'm so hard on myself. Say like, oh, there's my negativity again. It is so hard on me. It is not the real me. So have that courage to stand up and say, that is not the real me. And you can tell, it's like, how would I treat a friend? I would love them. I would support them. I would be so kind. And yet I have these horrible thoughts in my head. That's not the real me. That's not the human me. That's not the spirit me. It's the negativity. It's not you. It's false negative beliefs that drive a negative kind of survivalism, self-defensiveness. It's not the real you. So go ahead, stand up for yourself. Because I've had people my whole life say like, Carl, you're so hard on yourself, or Carl, you're so hard on me. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to love. Those thoughts are coming from somewhere else. It's not the real you. It's not the real you, okay? So that can help, just to observe, get a little distance, give yourself some space, have a sense of like hugging yourself. Okay, there's a monster outside, but we shut the door, and that's not us. We love each other. Try that.
And I find that I deposit a lot of value into others, discounting my self-value. But I find myself putting on a representation, and then when I come home, I have to kind of meet the person that I've had in the classroom. So I think it's important for all of us to use our heart as our compass, and also just understand that we're better than the worst things that we've done, or the things that we feel that we've done. So I find that this is a great exchange because it humanizes the experience.
You have a lot of heart there, and I really love that you brought up the public versus the private persona. It's like, yeah, we to some degree we need to have a public persona. We basically muster our strength, but we want it to be genuine. We want it to be authentic. This is authentically the best I have to offer. That's what I do in this group. And so if you're really being authentic with yourself, you can get into a flow. That's what I do with this group. I get into a flow and I'm totally genuine. I'm just not necessarily like, you don't necessarily see me in my most tender, vulnerable moments. But believe me, I have like really messy, human moments with myself. So just be aware that like years ago, my soul guidance said, Carl, do not compare your worst private moments to other people's best public moments. It's just, that's like totally different. I mean, first of all, never really compare yourself directly to other people anyway. Just let people give you ideas for different possibilities, but find what really works for you. But yeah, secondly, realize like everybody is dealing with we have our best strengths that we try to bring together to offer the world. But, that's when we go home at night, when we're alone with ourselves, that's when really the rubber meets the road. That's when we really discover how much can I really be friends with myself. And we're going to have all that negative stuff come up in the between me and me. All of this negativity comes up, and it's okay. We don't have to go into feelings of I'm under psychic attack, or I'm a loser, or my childhood trauma will never be healed, or whatever. It's like, nope, all of that can be healed. It's just think of it in terms of this is what's coming up for healing. I'm spending some private, tender time with myself, and look at this. More of the stuff came up that's just not true about me. The way people put me down when I was a kid, that's not true. I love myself. I build myself up. So more stuff to and basically we'll talk about the sources of negativity and how to get rid of negativity. Basically, the negativity will dissolve by itself the more that you love yourself and see clearly that certain choices, certain beliefs, certain lifestyles will never help you love yourself. Like the idea of war would lead to peace. It will never lead to peace. Peace leads you need peace to lead to peace. War will never lead to peace. Fighting will never, we're just dehumanizing ourselves if we think that violence is the answer. It's I know from the tender times with myself that being honest and genuine and loving, that's the answer. So it's a long process to heal the stuff that comes up for healing, but stick to that self-love, those tender moments with ourselves, and that's what works it through. So thank you for being here. Yeah, I just wanted to say every emotion that we feel has a positive and a negative outcome possible. So the negative outcome of emotions, we know full well. I mean, something like loneliness, people trying to run away from their loneliness, go to more parties, whatever, and it never works. Well, I'll just tell you the secret of loneliness is actually the feeling of you energetically knowing, your heart knows that someone's here to love you, but your mind is looking in the wrong direction. So there's a disconnect between the mind and the heart. The more that you can embrace your loneliness and try to get excited even, just say oh my God, I'm so lonely. It's horrible. But my loneliness, I know, like Carl said, it makes some sense. Loneliness means actually that there are spiritual beings here for me right now. Basically, when you can turn away from the false beliefs and turn toward the love that's there for you, suddenly you're not lonely anymore. So all the emotions are like that. We were trained to think of emotions like fear, oh my God, fear means something bad's going to happen. No, fear means something good can happen, and you have false beliefs that something bad will happen. It always goes back to false beliefs. So when you find the false beliefs, just say basically I don't believe that. That's not true. That's not how I would act. That's not how I would treat myself. you drop the false beliefs and suddenly all the love rushes in from the universe, all the opportunities. You realize like, oh, I am good enough. Oh my gosh, I have all these skills. That's why people came to me for things. Like the only reason why I was drained was because I kept giving and giving what I love to give, but I wasn't receiving it from myself. Now I close the circuit. It's like all your emotions will lead you home. Just be gentle and be with yourself to feel through it. You can get to the other side of the false beliefs that were separating you from you. So that's sort of my brief introduction to emotions and how, really everything has a silver lining. It can work out.